Hello, and welcome back to Los Angeles Sex Therapy Team Video Interview Series, founded by Moushumi Ghose, MFT. In this series, we introduce you to our therapists and coaches so you can get to know them on a more personal level by seeing them, hearing their voices, and learning more about their unique approaches to this work. I'm your host, Jamie Azar, sex, relationship, and intimacy coach at Last, and founder of Erotic Expressions. And today we're joined by Aasiyah Hill, who will be sharing insights into her philosophy and the way she supports clients. Welcome, Aasiyah, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to learn more about your work. So we're curious, what inspired you to become a sex therapist in the first place?
Yeah, so what inspired me was that I honestly have always been interested in the topic of sex, and probably because I didn't hear a lot about it. So it was something that was kind of forbidden in a way. So when I jumped into college and graduate school, it was something that I knew instantly I wanted to learn more about. And I think following that, um, I really think that within marginalized communities, it's something that isn't really discussed. And it's, you know, like I said, it's forbidden. It's a forbidden topic. It's taboo. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions about sex and intimacy. And I think working within marginalized communities, I realized that I really wanted to dive into the discussion, at least healthy discussions regarding sex and intimacy, pleasure, and so forth. So that really was the start. And, just wanting to support people to understand that they can have these discussions without having shame, without experiencing guilt, or, just being comfortable with the discussion of sex overall.
Absolutely. Such important work. Thank you for sharing that. And what would you say, Aasiyah, is your unique approach to working with clients? You shared that you specialize in chronic pain. How do sex therapy and chronic pain intersect in your work?
Yeah, so in regards to my unique approach, I love looking at things from a holistic lens. So obviously we know that, when we think about therapy, we think about feelings and we think about behaviors, but I also like to incorporate the physiological aspect of what's happening within the body that's influencing, different things that are relating to either lack of sex or lack of intimacy, lack of pleasure. And when it comes to chronic pain, we can obviously have a long discussion about it. But when we think about, migraines, or when we think about back pain, knee pain, leg pain, whatever kind of pain that becomes chronic in the body, it's as a result of emotions that are manifesting within the body. And in my work, I have found that oftentimes there is chronic pain, whether big or small, it doesn't really matter, but it's manifesting in the body as a result of a particular emotion. And that in turn is influencing the decrease in, sexual activity, or the unwillingness to, have the desire to even be intimate, whether with another individual or within, self-pleasure in itself. So I found that they intersect because everything just comes together: feelings, thoughts, and then what's happening in the body in itself.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. And earlier you mentioned one of the reasons you got into this work was to clear up some misconceptions out there around sex and sex therapy. So with that being said, what is one misconception that you'd like to clear up for folks?
I'd like to clear up that sex therapy has to be this daunting, scary experience. I think therapy in general can feel very daunting or scary or uncomfortable, but I think therapy in itself can be tough. But I think that there can also be, it can also be lighthearted as you're discussing, really heavy topics. And I think with sex therapy, it can be the same way, to really kind of go back and rewire maybe those negative experiences that you've had, even having discussions regarding sex and intimacy. So that's something that I would like to clear up, that it doesn't have to be so heavy. It doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be daunting. It's something that can be taken with ease. It's something that can be, a little bit more lighthearted.
Yeah, thank you so much. And absolutely finding that lightheartedness and humor along the way as well can be healing as we work through, right, all of those layers of unpacking and societal conditioning. And it sounds like for you and working with your folks, managing chronic pain and finding pleasure in that and in their bodies and through that exploration and curiosity. Thank you. And Aasiyah, what's something you love about the work that you do?
I love hearing everyone's story, honestly. Everyone's so different. And I love to see kind of like the culmination from the beginning to end in witnessing people and their journey from start to finish. So, I truly do love, assisting, just kind of being alongside someone as they're on their healing journey and seeing them, experience joy in the work that they have done. I think that that's something that's really cool. And I love when people have new discoveries and just the idea of exploration. And just like I said, being able to just be there and to support an individual as they are navigating complex, identities or complex topics and just kind of being present.
Absolutely. And how powerful, especially as you said, with so much the shame that people come in and carry sometimes, whether that's packed up in the stories like you're sharing right now, or living in their bodies, and manifesting as pain. Yeah, absolutely. Aasiyah, what do you want clients to feel after a session with you?
I want clients to feel seen and heard above all. I think that's probably the most important thing for me. I want them to feel like they have a safe space, obviously, just to be themselves, right? Like, I think outside, the world can be riddled with shame and just so many feelings, right, that one can experience. But I want people to come in therapy with me and just be able to take a deep breath. Like I think that's probably how I want clients to feel after the session.
Absolutely. And what would you say are some of the ways that you feel you can create those feelings of safety and just help folks feel more heard or seen, like during your sessions?
Yeah. I would say dialogues about honesty, I think, are really important. I'm a very honest clinician. So I think honesty, but also providing warmth. I understand that at the end of the day, we all are humans and we are all feeling and experiencing so many things. And I think being able, my strength in being able to navigate, like when to take a step back and listen versus when to take a step in and kind of, jump in to provide, that support that's needed. So I think really understanding the complexities of people and being able to know what's appropriate given the situation, because every situation is going to differ. One week it might look like a dialogue about one thing, and the next week it could just be me kind of taking a step back and just listening and just being present for clients.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for adding that. And in terms of a more optional, fun flavor here at the end, do you want to share a hobby, a passion, or a fun fact that shapes who you are?
Yeah, so I love to bake. Baking is my thing. That's when I feel super creative. My favorite thing to bake are brown butter, white chocolate chip cookies. So those are
Oh,
my
wow. So
I love doing that. And I would also say, I guess like a hobby slash passion. I love working with plants and herbs. Like I have a ton of plants, but I also love making, oils and just like healing products in general. Like that's something that I love to do energetically, working with plants and so forth. So yeah, those are two things that shape who I am.
fun. Thank you so much for sharing that. And are you feeling invited to share anything else to folks who may be considering reaching out to you or who may be considering working with you?
Yeah, I would love to say that working with me feels like, I'm a very straightforward and honest clinician, but I also am very welcoming and inviting to feedback, to critique. And like I said, I offer a really safe space for clients where we can laugh in session. We can, have discussions about lighthearted things, and that also be a part of your journey to help clients see that therapy doesn't have to be, scary. Like it can also be fun in a way and foster really healthy connection. So that's what I'd like to say.
Amazing. Thank you so much again, Asia, for being here with us today. And thanks to our viewers and listeners. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next interview series. See you next time.